about the differences between an acute and chronic leukemia. And so what acute leukemias are basically that they develop more rapidly and progresses more quickly after a diagnosis. And there's also evidence of immature appearing leukocytes. So that means all of the white blood cells, leukocytes, do not develop into cells that will fight off infection. And so acute leukemias are also more prevalent in children, but they can happen in adults. Like, they're not just mutually exclusive. Like, they happen in both children and adults, but they are more prevalent in children. And so chronic leukemias are basically leukemias that worsen over a longer period of time, and unlike acute leukemias. And the evidence of differentiated and mature appearing leukocytes occur. So that means that cells that are found can either be mature enough that they can fight off infection, or they can be down to the level where they're semi developed or not at all. And chronic leukemias are more prevalent in adults. So now we're going to look at the differences between myelogenous and lymphoblastic leukemias. And so what a myelogenous leukemia is, it's the cells that are affected come from the myeloid, either myeloid stem cell line or lymphoid. They come from the myeloid stem cell line. And so as you can see in this diagram, if you look at just this side of it, the myeloid stem cell line, the granulocytes that I talked about earlier are the ones that are affected in myelogenous leukemia. And then, and on the other hand, there's the lymphoblastic leukemia. And the malignant leukocytes will develop from the other line, which is the lymphoid stem cell. And those stem cells will differentiate into lymphocytes, and those are the cells, those that are over there, are the cells that will be malignant cells. Right. Before I go into symptoms, does anyone have questions about differences? Maybe like anything? You guys pretty much understand the differences between acute and chronic? Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Okay. So now moving on to symptoms. And so symptoms in general in leukemia are the cause of the white blood cells being produced in the bone marrow. There's a lot more of the white blood cells being produced, so that causes all the other red blood cells, like mentioned earlier, and platelets to have lower levels. And so the first symptom is that's common is anemia. Does anyone know? Oh, never mind. Okay, so anemia is a low level of red blood cells. And that's because, like I mentioned earlier, the white blood cells are taking up the room for red blood cells to be produced. And so anemia can cause tiredness or fatigue, and also shortness of breath, since the oxygen-producing cells, the oxygen doesn't quite get as processed as well. And that is a term called cytopenia, is when there's an imbalance of blood components being created in the bone. And so next is thrombocytopenia, which is pretty much the same as a cytopenia, except in thrombocytopenia there is that's the imbalance in the platelet counts. And the platelets, does anyone know what platelets are? I briefly mentioned them earlier. Anyway, platelets are blood clotting factors, so that obviously when you get a cut, you don't continually keep bleeding. Because it stops the body from continually. Yeah. Anyway, so that causes bruising and also bleeding. And then leukemia patients can also present with flu-like symptoms, and also infections, which is a cause of the compromised immune system, because there's an improper amount of of leukocytes or white blood cells in blood. Okay, so diagnosing leukemia. Diagnosing leukemia starts off with a physical exam. A patient comes in complaining about a problem like large bruising, or like I mentioned earlier, the symptoms, bruising, and from that, a doctor can diagnose whether or not, or can determine whether or not a complete blood count is needed. And then, has anyone ever gotten a CBC test before? No? Okay, well, it pretty much counts how many of each type of blood components there are. So they take a blood draw, and they determine what your hematocrit level is. And your hematocrit level determines whether or not if you have anemia. And so it's an important tool in determining whether or not there's a problem in the level of, in the amount of blood or levels of blood components that you have in your blood. And next is, well, it's actually out of order, but peripheral blood smear is used to analyze each morphology of the white blood cells. So they look at the shape, a cell's appearance, whether or not there's an irregularity with it. And then there's also bone marrow biopsy, and it pretty much takes blood from your bones. It sounds painful, but yeah. And they analyze those blood cells as well. And there's also cytogenic analysis, and that is looking at the chromosomal makeup or any defects that could indicate that there's a mutation that has occurred. And there's also flow cytometry, which does the same as a bone marrow biopsy and peripheral blood smear in analyzing blood levels. Alright, okay, so now I'm going to go on to talk about each individual type of leukemia. And so going back to the acute myelogenous leukemia are basically the leukemia that affects non-lymphocytic cells, which means that only the myeloid cells are affected. So as you can recall, the myeloid cells are the granulocytes that are produced from the myeloid stem cell line. And since it's an acute leukemia, it progresses more rapidly. And so acute AML happens in adults more often and accounts for 80 to 90% of leukemia in adults. But it can also occur in children too. But the average age is 67 years old, and the peripheral blood smear test shows large undifferentiated white blood cells. So when the blood cells are analyzed, they can see whether or not there is a defect in it, and the defect in AML are the undifferentiated white blood cells. And so if a bone marrow test is taken, if there's greater than 20% of myeloid blasts in that blood, it will indicate that there is AML, and it's called hypercellular. So before I go on, can anyone say a fact that was on that slide? Just checking to see if you guys are paying attention. It doesn't have to be, exactly right. Huh? On this slide I just gave you guys.
Person's diagnosed at 67.
Huh?
An average person's diagnosed at 67.
Right. Yeah. Good. Good. Thanks. You enough? Okay. Okay. So this is the acute myeloid leukemia, and as you can see there, it's a stain, and in this, okay, to pretty much explain the morphology. And so acute myeloid leukemia will have cells that are larger. See how they're a whole lot larger than normal leukocytes, granulocytes. And this lighter bordering, you guys see the lighter bordering, it means that those cells are undifferentiated. And same for this over here, the border, and just some general morphology of it can indicate to a doctor